Well, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today, joining me here on this live Facebook chat. Thank you for joining me. I'm at my office today before I head out for a round of meetings. And before I went, I just wanted to share with you today on this Thoughtful Thursday a question that a lot of clients ask me. And hey, Christine, good morning. Thank you for joining me on this Thoughtful Thursday. I want to talk to you today about the why me question. A lot of clients that I work with ask the question, why me? Why has this happened to me? I like to think of that as the victim mentality. And when you're in the conversation, bearing in mind of the three principles of Lifeology and You, which is mind, thought and consciousness, when you're in your mind having the thoughts about why me, you're actually stepping into the there we go. Technology's playing up a little bit this morning. Sorry about that. So yeah, if you're in the distinction or the conversation that has you be the victim, you're losing your power. You're giving the situation, person, thing, whatever it is that you're experiencing, you're giving your power away to that by having the thoughts that, why me? I used to work with a lady, a very lovely lady, I'm not sure if she's still on this earth, called Veronica McCann, and I remember going into her office one day and she just had a conversation with someone who just had a diagnosis of cancer. And she said, Susan just said to me, Gillian, why me? And I just said, well, why not you? The thing is that it's all about how you approach any given situation with your thinking, with your mind, and your level of consciousness. Because when you're in the victim mode, oftentimes you're in a sort of a lower level of consciousness. And by that I mean, if you think of if you're in an elevator and maybe there's 8 floors, ground floor is a sort of lower, very unconscious state. As you rise up to the first floor, you become a wee bit more aware. As you go to the second floor and the third and the fourth, you become ever more aware of your surroundings and you're more conscious. By the time you get to the 8th floor, you think of that as you're fully present, fully in the moment, fully in your sort of present to the present. And that means that you are at a different level of thinking. When you're at your full level of consciousness, you think in a different way. Now, that's not to say that the level of consciousness will drop. Yes, it will. But now that you're aware of that, it's about remembering to bring yourself back up to the top of your game, to being present to the moment. So if you find yourself really overthinking something, and that might be a relationship, it might be a situation, it might be your finances, whatever it is, it's about stepping into your empowered place, not being the victim. Now, I always say to clients, think about everything as a choice. So if you're choosing to think a particular thought, and you know that it makes you feel a particular way, well, you have a choice. Don't think it. And you know that if you think it, you're going to feel not that clever, not that good. And if you choose a different way of thinking, then you'll feel something different. Because if you change the way you think about things, and I've said this before many times, if you change the way you think about things, everything changes. Nothing has changed, but everything's different. And so think about that. When you change your level of thinking about a situation, everything changes. Nothing's changed, but everything's different. So today I want you to hold that thought and to apply it to whatever you might be in the circumstances of your life at this moment. But also I want you to think about choosing to not be the victim. When you're being the victim and you're holding resentment and you're holding a grudge or you're holding anger or whatever it might be, it's like drinking bleach and expecting the other person to die. The only person that anger, resentment, etc., is doing any damage to is you, because of your thinking up here affects your physiology, affects how you feel, and now you know you can change that feeling. All you have to do is change your thoughts. So if you're in the question about why me, why is life throwing me this curveball today, then that's your victim mentality. The next thing I want you to think about is that everything that happens to you for a reason. And the reason is learning. We're all spiritual beings here having a human experience. And our human experience has almost been decided for us before we get here. You're here to learn things. You're here to learn new things. You're here to learn about different things yourself and circumstances. So if you start to think about whatever it is that has happened or happening, write down a list of all of the things you've learned, because everything that happens to you is a learning. So when you have learned things, maybe it's what you don't want, maybe it's a situation that you find a series of things that you're not particularly happy with, that's a learning. If you look to the learning, then you know, hey Emma, good morning, how are you? Thank you for joining us on this Thoughtful Thursday. We're talking about why me and the victim mentality. We've covered quite a wee bit already, so Emma, you might want to just pick this up from the beginning again. But when you're in the victim mentality, you're the loser. So I want you to think about, in terms of whatever it is that's happening to you, write down at least 10 things, if not more. Don't limit yourself to 10 things, but write down things that you have learnt. And then start to look at the opposite of that. You now know what you don't want in a relationship, or with your finances, or with where you live, with your job, whatever it might be. I've just actually read an article, a very poignant article on Facebook written by a 24-year-old who was dying of cancer. And he was saying that he had picked his own tie. The next time he would wear this tie would be at his funeral. And it was very, very poignant in that he was obviously looking down the barrel of life's gun, and he was saying about all of the things that obviously his experience was coming to a rapid end. It wasn't his choice to leave this earth, but he was going to have to go, and that his print on his footprint, if you like, on the planet was short-lived in 24 years. But he was sort of making the point, if you're in a job that you don't like, get out of it. Life, you know, when you're facing the termination of life, you want to have no regrets. Je ne regrette rien, I think the song went. But you want to have a fulfilled experience. You want to have a contribution. And to be in the victim mentality will stop you from making that contribution. So whatever it is that you believe you're the victim of, get out of that thinking. Start to think yourself as having a learning, and look at the opportunity that learning is throwing up for you, because you now know what you don't want. And that's very true for all of us. If you think of a situation, a relationship, something that you're not happy with, if you write down all of the things you've learned for yourself out of that experience, you now know what you don't want. So that means when you set off, whether that's to look for a new relationship, a new job, whatever it might be, when you set off again, you set off better informed. And if you think of there's no such thing as failure, just feedback, the feedback is the learning, and then that allows you to move forward better informed and make different choices. And here's the thing. If you choose to be in the question of why me, I'm the victim, well then you know what, you'll just get more thinking and more thoughts and more evidence of that in your life to support that thinking. Or you can think of, I have now learned from my experience, how can I move forward and look for the opportunities that are before you? So in this Thoughtful Thursday, look for opportunity, look for the learning as opposed to the why me. Get out of the victim mentality. If you choose to be a victim consciously, well then you know what you're doing. And now that you've heard what I have to say, you know if you feel yourself in the victim mentality, well it's your thinking. You can choose a different way of thinking if you want to. And in the choosing of that, you can move forward and be free. So the thing is that if you choose to do something, then you can't be a victim, even if you're choosing to be the victim, because you've chosen it consciously. If you're in the why me question and the victim question today, it's because you're on the ground floor or the first floor of the elevator. You're in an unconscious pattern of thought, and that can be broken and changed. So as you go about your business today on this Thoughtful Thursday, think about what have you learned from the situations that you're remonstrating about, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's your finances, whatever it is. Think about the learnings. Write down the learnings from however you've got to wherever you are right this moment when you're watching this video. And then look at how can you move forward with a different way of thinking. So I just want to thank you for joining me today. I appreciate that a lot of you take the time to join me on these little videos, and it's my pleasure to serve you. And I know from the feedback that I get from messages and whatnot that you do get a lot out of these videos, which is really very humbling, because it's my job to help you. Oh, Christine, thank you very much. Love these videos. Thank you for doing them. Really, thank you very much for taking the time to join me. It does. I do create the videos around what people are telling me, what clients are saying, what's kind of happening in the moment for people. And I'm guessing that if it's happening to my clients or to the people who are watching these, it's happening to lots of other people too. So I really appreciate your thanks and your gratitude. So thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you again on Monday for Mindful Monday. In the meantime, if you are interested in learning more, just pop over to Lifeology and You group, and that's different from the Lifeology page. So I see from the likes on the page and the people joining the group that perhaps there's a bit of confusion around that. They're two separate distinctions. Lifeology is a page. Lifeology and You is a closed group, which I'm trying to build up of like-minded people, so that we have a community where we can talk about the three principles of mind, thought and consciousness in a bit more detail. If you know anybody who can benefit from these videos, please feel free to message them, like and share, please. If you have anything that you want to ask me, please feel free to send me a private message, and I certainly am happy to do a video. For all of you that watch on a regular basis, you know I don't prescribe anything. I don't prescribe any activity. Coaching isn't about prescribing. Coaching is about active learning, transformational conversation. So the job is yours to do if you choose. So now that you know, because you do, now that you know that all you have to do to get out of the victim mentality is to change your thinking, you're just one thought away from happiness. So you have an amazing day, and remember that you, yes, you are amazing. Thank you. See you Monday.